Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Mindful Mondays. No, you are not making a mistake. It is Sunday. And sometimes we do Mindful Mondays on Sunday, but the concept is still the same. It's being mindful, it's bringing ourselves back into reality. If you are brand new here, of course, we are excited that you are here. If you are people who have been here before, we're excited that you are here as well. And if you are current members of our programs, we are also very excited that you are all here. And we have a very interesting, exciting topic tonight. And we're also exciting. I have a couple of announcements to make, so you definitely want to stay till the end about what we have upcoming in the near future. So we are really, truly excited, and more than excited, very grateful. And really very grateful and honored. We're coming up to close to a year. We started this Mindful Monday in January of 2025, about 11 months ago. And we have seen such growth and such great feedback from individuals who really enjoy these sessions that we try to keep up pretty much every 2 weeks. And like I said, sometimes on Monday, sometimes on Sunday, but it's still mindful. And this is what we like to get your minds thinking in a way that can bring you the ultimate in life, which is true inner peace and inner happiness. And that's really our goal in everything that we do. If there's certain challenges that you have in life, being able to handle these challenges without feelings of being overwhelmed or feelings of being stuck is something that we teach a lot about in our program. And of course, there are different times of year that are more stressful than others. I would say this is more of a calming time of year. There's not a lot going on in the fact of before Yontif, back to school, going away for the summer. It is for the next few months, it's really a great opportune time in the calendar where an individual can really take advantage of life, of the calendar, and really get into healing, growing, raising children, growing your family, getting in touch with yourself, getting in touch with humanity, your religion, your culture, everything that you want, getting close to Hashem. Of course, this is a great time of year to be able to really focus on this stuff and have few distractions. Not that have never any distractions. I don't think that's humanly possible. So I really like to take advantage in general of every time of year because I do believe that every time of year has its unique greatness to it. No different right now that the winter months are really a great opportunity for the next few months to take tremendous advantage of your life and what you want to be. The name of tonight's topic, and we've been focusing on the last 2, 3 weeks, 2, 3 sessions, I should say, it's more than 2, 3 weeks, is staying in your lane. And the idea of, we started speaking about this last week, identification versus imitation. The difference between identifying yourself with what others, who is a wise individual, a person who learns from all men. Imitating is trying to imitate somebody. When a person tries to imitate, they will fall short. They will get very frustrated because each one of us has unique qualities, has unique abilities. That's why we are here. The universe needs every single individual in order for stuff that we may not necessarily know. I'm not in management. I don't run the world. I don't make all the choices. I'm not asked my permission if things should happen in current events or in the world. I am not. I believe for the longest time that I was, in the sense that I would get frustrated if things weren't going the way that I thought it should. I still do a little bit, but there's been a tremendous amount of improvement. And if you're ever getting frustrated about some current events or something in your life, that's not going the way that you believe that it should go, then basically what you're doing is playing God and trying to run the show. And you and I both know that neither you nor I are God. There is only one God in the world. And he, I believe, knows what he's doing. He hasn't made a mistake yet, as far as I know. And I don't believe he's planning on making one anytime soon. There are no mistakes in God's kingdom. There's plenty of mystery, plenty of mystery. There's lots of miracles. There's lots of things that happen that are difficult for us as humans to understand, to comprehend, or to explain. None of that has an effect on actually what is going on in the world. And the more we get to that point where we recognize that and we live our lives with that understanding, life goes so much smoother. It's something that we talk a lot about in our programs, that we teach these things and we guide people to be able to get to that point where, even though intellectually we're not talking about any concept that's complicated, excuse me, nonetheless, to be able to internalize that and to be able to function on a daily basis with that understanding, not just intellectual understanding, but to really feel it in your heart, because that's truly what the goal is. That's where you really feel that inner peace, that inner joy, that inner happiness. That is absolutely attainable for every human being. It really is. So we gave some homework to last week, and we're going to go over the homework in a little bit. If you were not here last week or you're not around when we gave, the homework was simply for you to write down what it is that you want for yourself, of who you want to be. What do you want in life? And if you didn't do it till now and you want to just jot a couple of things down now, we're going to come to in a little bit tonight, and we're going to discuss how to make that happen for yourself, to guide you. So even if you did write some things, or you've been having some difficulty with writing, with actually describing for yourself what that is, or there's some uncertainty or doubt going on, we're going to explain where those doubts come from. And we're going to teach you, we're going to guide you how to get past them. Because once you have an identity, once you know what you want for yourself, and then you'll be able to live life from a much happier place. You will get less frustrated, and a lot of things that you suffer with possibly will diminish. I promise. And I speak from personal experience. I also speak from the statistics of those people who are in our program who also are able to strive for that life. So, a little review to get to that identification versus imitation. We already said that imitating somebody is unhealthy, but learning from somebody. What do I mean by learning from somebody? I don't mean going to a class like over here. There's a lecture kind of situation, a teleconference, and you learn something. That's not what I'm referring to when I say learn from somebody. Learning from somebody is to notice somebody's behaviors and to see how people react in different situations, even though the truth is we don't really know what's going on in an individual's life. Even if they show themselves a certain way, there really is no way to totally comprehend, what goes on behind people's doors. As much as we think that we do know, we really don't. So we don't know people's history. We don't know what their situations are. So it's very difficult for us to judge. However, you can still learn from things that you notice. You can either learn things that you like about a way an individual behave. Maybe you see a person interact with their children and you go, wow, that was amazing. Their child is ranting and raving in the grocery store, and the way the parent addressed it, you look at that and say, wow, that's amazing. I would love to be able to do that. Or if you see two people having a conversation and you see the way one individual is actively listening to the other person and the way they're responding in such a calm way, or if you hear somebody say some words of wisdom, some pearls of thought, and you go, wow, that's amazing. I would like to know where this individual got that wisdom from. And again, so these are great things that you can learn. And then if you see somebody misbehave or you see somebody react in a way that you would never do such a thing, and not in a sense of judging, yes, it is a little bit judging, but not in a way of criticizing, but in a way of saying, you know, something, I don't know why this person is doing that. They must be going through a rough time. I have no idea. But that's definitely something that I would not like to do. Again, and just one added note, it's very possible that what you will notice in another person who's interacting, who's reacting to a situation in a very negative way, it may be something that you do sometimes and you go, oh, wow, that's very ugly. I have to work on that. I don't want to do that because a lot of times, many times, we don't realize how our behaviors affect other people almost all the time because we don't walk around with a mirror and looking at ourselves. We don't get like a video camera of a situation that we can review later and see, oh, wow, let me see how I behaved in that situation. You don't get that opportunity in life to review a camera of how you behave. Can you imagine? Just think about this for a moment. Can you imagine if there was a video camera of you all day, and at the end of the day, you get to review it before you go to sleep? That would be a pretty scary video to watch, I would think. Wouldn't you agree with that? That there's some things that we prefer not to see how we are, and then there are other things that we're pretty proud of that we would like to see. But so a lot of times we don't know how our tone is. And then you listen to it and you go, wow, that wasn't my intention at all. It really came out wrong. I thought I was saying this, and now I understand why the other individual responded in such a way because they heard now from a different perspective. I know what I wanted to say. I know what I was thinking, and maybe I wasn't explaining myself well enough, or maybe my tone was a little off because maybe there was something anxious, or maybe I just was having something else going on in my life at that moment. And my reaction to this person was really a frustration of something else that was going on. That's usually what happens. So we don't know many times how our message is coming across. I've recorded many sessions, and every once in a while I'll listen to one that I did, maybe not a whole one or something, and I go, wow, I'll either say that was pretty good or saying, wow, I that's an interesting thought. I was actually thinking of something else. So more importantly, what we say is what the other people hear. So a lot of times we don't know for sure how we are conveying our message in life. That's why when I say identifying with somebody, not imitating them, because you don't know why people say what they say, what they mean of it, what is important for you and for me is what we hear. That's really all that it is. And that's why it's not imitating other people, it's identifying. If we see something that we identify with and we go, wow, that's amazing. I would like to interact in that tone. I would like to be the one that behaves that way in such a situation. And we gave you six ways to go over of, again, how to stay in your lane. In other words, how to focus on you. One of them was listen to yourself. So here's a perfect, you may want to do this. You may want to record yourself sometime. That would be interesting, right? And then listen to yourself afterwards and you go, oh my gosh, is that what I said? Is that what the other person heard? But just a little bit of consolation here. The other person who's hearing you is also listening from everything that they got going on in their lives. So they may also be in a stressful situation, or they may also be frustrated about something, or they may be very happy about something. So they may hear it differently anyways than what you said. Fascinating thing when it comes to communicating with other people, that it sometimes is difficult to really understand a message that somebody's portraying, not always. And also, what we hear is filtered through our own perceptions. So it's very possible that what we will hear is completely different than what the other person has said. Interesting. Just something for you to think about. So listen to yourself. And the most important thing that we wrote, that I believe from all the 6 things, I'm not going to go through it all, that was, we went through that last week, is to choose your perspective, choose your experience about any incident. So here's one way if you want to record yourself, or sometimes if it's somebody close, you can get feedback and you can ask them, right? What did you hear what I said? When somebody comes up to me and says, wow, that was fantastic what you said, I'll ask them, what did you hear? Because a lot of times what they hear is not necessarily what my intention was to speak. So I want to hear, what did you hear? Obviously, it's difficult in life to just keep going around and asking your friend, oh, I want to say this. Oh, what did you hear what I said? However, the situation can arise at times, or maybe you're talking to your spouse and you're having a disagreement. And instead of trying to force your message at your partner, your spouse, or if it's an older child, what did you hear that I said first? I don't do that enough. I really don't. But when I do, it's so much more powerful, because instead of continuing the disagreement or the argument, I can hear what the other person heard. Many times, what they hear is not what your intention was or what you're going to say. And that can alleviate a lot of situations. So after that, we gave you how to stay in your lane. Then we gave a suggestion to write down your goals. Who do you want to be? And for some people, this is a very difficult task. And especially people who go through trauma, go through difficult times in their life, that can be extremely frustrating and difficult. To be able to write down your goals, to write down who you want to be. So I want to break it down tonight and help you out so that you can have an easier time to find it. Because in my opinion, based on past experience, and I've been doing this work for over 24 years. So I have a lot of experience in what I come across and what I teach. And plus my own personal recovery, having maintained 100-pound weight loss for 21 years. I've been doing this work, this inner work that I discussed here on the Mindful Monday. People say, oh, where do you get all these ideas from? I've been living this for 24 years. I've been working on this. I'm glad a lot of you didn't know me then, but there are people who did know me then. And they've definitely seen a transformation. I'm a very different person than I was then. So I understand, I've been there. If you're still struggling, I understand what that is. I really do. Not because I'm brilliant or wise, but more importantly, because I've been there and I know what that is. I pray that I never forget, and I say this multiple times, that I pray that I never forget what it was like when before I walked into that crisis center because I was suicidal. I dive in that. I should never forget that day. And why do I say that? Is because knowing that, remembering that, should I say, when I remember that, it brings me to such a place of humility and inner peace and joy and gratitude. I'm grateful for everything that goes on in my life. It removes a lot of fears. It removes a lot of frustration. It removes a tremendous amount of worry, if I have any, because I look back at where I was 24 years ago, not a very happy place in my life. It was a very dark time in my life, and being obese and depressed and frustrated and angry and all of that all in one, to the extent that I just wanted to give up. And the life that I live today and the gifts that I have. And I say this, I get a chill down my spine that there are people that come. I know we don't charge anything for this, but still, we do charge your time. That you take out your time from your busy calendar, from whatever it is that you're doing in your life right now, and you chose to come here and hear what I have to say. Affects me in ways that I can't even describe. It is truly remarkable because I've been with me the whole time. And I was with me 24 years ago. And the 40 years of frustration and struggle that I had before that led up to that. So I know what that is. And if somebody would have told me 24 years ago, don't worry, Alan, I know you want to give up now, but you should know in 24 years from now, you're going to be doing some Mindful Mondays and you're going to create these programs. You're going to be helping people. I said, what? Seriously? So you never know. So I've been there and I know the power of God of Hashem, that what he did for me, of the Eibishter. I do believe that I've been given a mission, and it wasn't something that I chose. It really was something that happened. So these, all these concepts that I discuss every week is based on that experience. A lot of it is research. Yeah, I've studied a lot. I just finished my second book, coming out soon. Keep Those Pounds Off is the name of it. I have some final editing to do on it, and it will be for sale. It'll be on Amazon, and I'm just starting a little promotion now, but it will be out hopefully within a couple of months. And yes, I have done research, but I've done life research more than just studying research. Yes, and I have some degrees and so on and so forth. But the truth is that what I do today, that I am on the giving end. And I tell this to my patients. I work in psychiatry. I used to work in the emergency room, and now I'm in a psychiatric inpatient unit. And I look at these individuals and I say, I want you to know that I don't judge you. I don't. And a lot of them came in to the emergency room in handcuffs because they were wreaking havoc. They were stealing. Maybe they hurt somebody on the street. They were drunk. And they come in and I look at them and I say, I want you to know I don't judge you. I don't think you're a horrible person. I think you're hurting. But I am grateful that I am on the giving end today and I'm not on the receiving end, because I was once on the receiving end and I know what that is. And I know how fragile life can be. So once again, I daven, I should never forget what it was like that comes in. And I have plenty memories. So when I come to you, I come with a lot of years of experience, some that I'm not that proud of, but I am grateful. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but it's really not. I am grateful that I was able to learn from it, and I've been giving a second chance, and this is what I offer to you. So this is where my message is, part of my message, where it comes from. Don't give up. If you're there and you're down and out and you're feeling hurt, those are my people. I look for people who are on the couch and they just can't get out of bed, and they're sleeping with nightmares. They're sleeping with terror. They feel overwhelmed. They feel stuck. Those are my people. Those are the people that I connect to because I know what that is. And less than that is even better, of course, much easier. But even the people, in some ways, but even the people who are really down and out, I'm here for you. I want you to know that you're not alone, and I will never abandon you. I will never neglect you or betray you. All those things that I endured. So I understand it. So when you're trying to create this identity for yourself, writing down your goals, there's three things that could possibly give you struggles in this, challenges, and to ask yourself, what is the reason that you want to be whatever it is that you want to be? If somebody would have asked me 24 years ago when I walked into that crisis center what I wanted to be, I not only wouldn't have been able to answer the question, I wouldn't have even be able to understand. I was nowhere in a place where I could identify what I wanted in life, who I wanted to be, because everything that I had tried, I had failed at. So I wouldn't have had an answer, really. I was really clueless. So I understand if you're having a difficulty trying to understand that. Absolutely. I can definitely relate to that. So the first question is, first thing to ponder on, the goal that who you want to be, is it because you don't want to be who you are? That's possible. That was definitely mine back then. I didn't want to be who I was. I hated myself. I despised myself. I was 312 pounds. If you would have asked me who I want to be, I didn't believe I could ever get there, but I said I would want to be skinny. That's the only thing that I could have thought of then, which is a good motivator, but it is important to identify when you're writing down these goals of who you want to be and how your life wants. Is it because you are unhappy who you are now? And be honest with yourself. There's not something to post in the local, in the community connections or in the View or the Balabus. It's not a place to advertise this. It's not even to show your spouse and certainly not your children or your parents. It's something for yourself to ask yourself, but it is important to identify, as we said, identification, not imitation. I don't want anybody to imitate me. Me is already taken by me, so you can't imitate me. Not that anybody has that desire, but I'm just telling you, this is not about imitating me. I'm bringing you a message. Leave the messenger out of it. It's just a message. So try to identify with the message. So is it that you don't want to be who you are now? And if that is true, be honest. Tell yourself, yeah, I want to, some parts of my life I'm very happy with. There's some parts that I want to change. But be honest with yourself. Number two is a possibility. Is there something that you want to be? It's because something that you've always wanted, something that you've always dreamed about. Little kids, they look up and they want to be like their tatis. They want to be like, they want to put on the hats and the clothes like their parents wear. Or in other worlds, different parts, different cultures, they want to be an astronaut, or they want to be a fireman, or they want to be a policeman. They want to be somebody that they look up to. That's beautiful. So is there something that you want to be because you've always wanted it? Nothing wrong with that again, if that is true for you. And then the third one, which I believe is the one that's most challenging that we're going to be discussing. Are you trying to satisfy somebody else's dreams or desires? For example, is it something that your parents have always wanted you to be and you want to find favor in your parents' eyes? Is it something that your friend said, oh, you would be great doing this? You should try this. You're going to be fantastic doing that. Anybody ever heard that? Oh, I've definitely heard that. Maybe it's something that your spouse would like you to be. Maybe your husband or your wife are telling you that I wish you would do this. You would be fantastic about that. You have such a great skill with it. You want to make them happy. Or maybe it's a mentor or teacher that you're trying to impress. So that's what you want to be. Or maybe it's something in your culture that people are looked up to in your culture, in your community. And you go, you know what? I want to be that, which comes into a very powerful statement. And it's important to recognize this from all the things that we said. I think this is one of the most powerful things that will cause a lot of confusion. Is there something that you want to, because of maybe from your community or your culture, your status? Maybe you want to have a certain status in your community, in your culture. Wow, did I struggle with that for many years, that I was trying to oppress, not realizing that I was doing it. And after I started to do this inner work, 24 years ago, after a couple of years, it became apparent that a lot of things that I was doing was in order to oppress, in order to have a certain status. So for many people who are having difficulty determining what your goals are or who you want to be, and you may tell yourself, oh, it's because I'm not happy with who I am, it's very possible that you are trying to impress, that you're trying to get to a certain status in your mind. And when people do that, it makes life very difficult. And I'm going to explain why. And that's really this is one of the main points that I want to get to tonight. That when you're trying to impress and you're trying to develop a certain status of your being in your community, in your family, in your work, can be anywhere, really. What you're basically doing is you're giving away your power to that. You are enslaving yourself. You think that you're expanding. A person may think that they're expanding their horizons by trying something new. But the truth is that their identification becomes limited because right now they are enslaved with that status that they're trying to achieve. And that is really what is running their lives. That is really what is causing them to act in a certain way and to behave in a certain way. And when you give away your power, life is very difficult. The truth is, we all give away our power at some level. I gave away my power to my food. That's where I gave away my power. That my food got all my power. Everything evolved around eating, around overeating, around making sure that I had enough food or not, or whatever it is that I was attempting to indulge in. And I really gave away my power. When an individual gives away their power to somebody else, and I don't mean being a parent that you sacrifice your life for your children, that's not giving away your power, just the opposite. That's completing your purpose. Your purpose is to be a parent, and you're doing that by sacrificing. That's what parents do. They're not giving their power to their children. They're giving their time and their effort and their undivided attention to their children. But that's not their power, just the opposite. That is their power. Their power is to be a parent or a teacher who gives away their attention to their students. That's not called giving away your power. That's not what we're referring to. Giving away your power means not doing what you want to do because you're trying to create a status. Now, for instance, we spoke a little bit about parenting. If you're trying to be that amazing parent so that your children should say what a phenomenal parent you are, and they should go to school and talk about what amazing parent you are, or they should tell your relatives, or they should tell you, oh, mommy, you're the best, or yo, Tati, you're so wonderful, and you're this great parent. That's called giving away your power. But doing it because that's who you want to be, and that's who you're trying to be, once again, that's not called giving away your power. In weight loss, we teach in our weight loss program where we teach people how to get their power back. How do you get your power back? Our program, the first 6 weeks, people lose 6 to 15 pounds, 98% success rate. And it doesn't matter whether you're on the injectables, whether you're taking other GLP-1 medications. nothing to do with it because we don't really focus on the food that we eat. We focus on you. We give you your power back. That's what our program does. So when you have your power back, you're not going to overeat. You're not going to give away your power to your food and to your overeating. And you can't do that. Should I say, you can't get to that place by talking about food. And I'm just giving food as an example. There's many other examples, but I'm talking about that because that's one of our biggest programs of what we do. We've helped hundreds of people lose weight, keep it off, because we don't talk about weight loss. We don't talk about eating. We don't talk about food. That's not our main focus. Not that we don't talk about it at all. Of course we do. We teach people to lose weight. But more importantly, how they get to their goal weight and keep it off and lose those cravings. And I said I had an announcement towards the end that we are wrapping up in a few minutes, and then we'll be open to questions and answers. That we'll be going to be having a sugar cravings event in 2 weeks, which is 1 week before Hanukkah, which is a great time to talk about this stuff, how you can go through Hanukkah, eat your donut, eat your latke, and everything else, all these other wonderful delicacies for the yontif, and not gain weight. How about that? Amazing. I didn't mean to stuff yourself, but not to be a slave to it. That's what our program does. And in the 6 weeks that our program that we promoted, and once again, we had a great sale last week, and we decided to extend it another week. That we normally charge $697 for this 6 week program, that we're giving it away for $497. We're giving a discount. And if you're interested to find out more about it, and if this program is for you, if you really want your power back, and I'm going to explain how to do that, all you need to do in the next 24 hours, same thing we did last week. Just text in to the office where you said mindful, 845-400-9466, 845-400-9466, or it's in our chat. For those of you who are online, you can email us info@keepthosepoundsoff.com, but if that's too complicated, just text in the word "silent." And if you do that, we will give you that discount. You can start getting to your goal weight, getting your power back. Can you imagine not being enslaved by your frustrations, whether it's around food or other aspects in your life, not feeling overwhelmed, being able to keep off whatever weight you do lose? That's what our program does. That's my expertise. That comes from 50 years of experience. That is my expertise. And once again, even if you're taking the injectables, statistics show that when people stop injecting themselves, or they even have it now in pill form, they gain their weight back in 6 to 12 months. 6 to 12 months. That's what the current statistics is. That's crazy. And this statistics have been this way, whether you did bariatric surgery, now with the injectables, whether you did the balls, whatever it is that you did, people gain their weight back within 1 year. 1 year. And I was definitely that statistic. It didn't take me a year to gain any weight that I had lost. So our program teaches you how to get your weight back. And I'm sorry, how to get your weight back. That was I misspoke. How to get your power back. We talk about you. We get you to become the you. We get you to identify. We get you to create your goals of who you want to be. And we talk about why you're unable or have been unable to get to that true want, to get to that true person that you want to be. We do trauma healing. We do all these things, anxiety reduction, because all these theories work. So if you're having struggles writing your goals of who you want to be, if you're having struggles reaching and maintaining a certain, whether it's your weight loss or whether it's something else in your life that you seem to be struggling with, it's because you've given away your power. You're just looking in the wrong place. So how do you get your power back? I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all of them, but there are 7 things. And number one, are you ready? Is everybody here ready? Good. Because this stuff is powerful stuff. No casting blame. In other words, no excuses. Oh, it's my parents' fault. It's the home that I was brought up in. Oh, it's my financial situation. Oh, it's my children. Oh, I have no time at the end of the day for myself. I'm so busy. If and only, the if and only excuses. If I could do this, or only if I could do that, or if this wasn't my situation, if I didn't have such a small apartment, if my neighbors weren't so loud, if my spouse would listen to me, if my spouse was more helpful, if my children weren't so needy, if my parents weren't so demanding, if my friends weren't so annoying, right? Any external is blaming them. If I was brought up in a different home, if I lived in a different neighborhood, if I had a different personality, if and only something that I believed to be true about myself. So I've been there. No casting blame. That's number one. If you find yourself blaming some external thing in your life, what you're basically doing is throwing away your power. You're giving it away to somebody else, and you will be frustrated in life. You definitely will. Some aspect of your life, maybe more things than others. So no casting blame. Don't criticize yourself. Number two, you're doing the best that you can. You really are. If you are here and you've given yourself permission to spend an hour and a half on a Sunday night to hear some words of encouragement, to listen to something, or if you plan on joining our program and getting this help that week, you will have this every week live with me, my coaches, where you can ask questions and you can get healing and pre-recorded sessions and a workbook. Oh yeah, we give you the whole shebang that you get for that money. You get a tremendous amount of support and information and guidance to get to wherever you want to go. So don't criticize yourself. No criticizing yourself. You're doing the best that you can. And you may be having a hard time. I'm not saying not. Number three, these are all ways to give away your power. That if you were doing these, in other words, if you were casting blame, if you're criticizing yourself, number three, are you playing the victim? Are you always being the victim? Oh my gosh, everybody's out to get me. My spouse hates me. My parents hate me. My siblings, my children don't love me, so on and so forth. Something that I lived with myself. So I know what that is to play the victim. You're basically giving your power away by saying those things. Be aware of your negative voices, that chatterbox in your head, that chatterbox. You're no good. You're not good enough. You messed up. What's the matter with you? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do this? That chatterbox, that negative voices that's tearing you down. Once again, you're giving away your power. If you want something, stop waiting for somebody to give it to you. If there's something that you want in your life, go after it. Figure out how to get it and go for it. Nobody's bringing it to you. You got to go after it. Once again, taking responsibility. And then number 7, familiarize yourself with your options. Something that we teach in our program, there is always option C. In other words, if all you can see is either this or that, if and only either I do this or I do that, and I'm in a dilemma because I only see 2 choices in front of myself. When you do that, you've given away your power. You've given away your power to the limitation of your logic. because your logic right now is seeing either this or that. That's all your logic. That's all your logic is seeing. And when you do that, you've given away your power to your logic. Because what we teach in our program, and the reason why we have the success that we have, is because the solutions are not logical because the problem is not logical. It's not a logical problem. It may seem logical to you, whatever it is that you're struggling with, but as you can see, it comes from a much more powerful place. So gain your power back. Take it back. You deserve it. You're doing great. You're doing fantastic. So those are, I'm sorry, somebody said that they only heard 6, not 7. It's true. There was one of them I didn't bother to write down. I don't remember what it was. So I only gave you 6. My bad. Yes, there were 6 things, not 7. So I'm presenting you with 6 things. Yes. 6 ways to gain your power back. That is great. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I am a human being and I make mistakes. So I appreciate you showing me that. That concludes tonight's session on identification versus imitation. These are very deep concepts I want you to know. You should not be taken lightly. You can review them. We will get the newsletter out. I know I'm behind with that, but we will get you the newsletter out. And sign up for our next one on the 7th of December, which is 1 week before Hanukkah. Again, it's going to be on a Sunday night in 2 weeks. And we're going to do sugar cravings. And you're going to get, if you sign up before and tell your friends to sign up, you're going to get a workbook for the first time with this, with the sugar cravings, and learn something about that. But in the meantime, we are running this special once again. Just for the next 24 hours, you do have to just text in the word sign up. And one of our members will get in touch with you and discuss it with you. And you don't have to actually sign up today. You just have to put it in order to get that price is to text in the word sign up 845-400-9466. So that concludes tonight. We're going to turn our attention over to Q&A, to questions and answers. You can, so once we can identify what those emotions, what's the cause of those emotions, that is the only way to get your power back. And it really is about self-knowledge and self-awareness and identifying that. It is a process. It is what we teach in our program. It's a great question. And what happens is that as we get clarity with that, where those emotions are coming from, the cravings to overeat disappear. They really do. Fascinating. It's really healing the subconscious of what is causing you to overeat. Why are you doing things? Why is an individual, not just you personally, doing something to harm themselves? It doesn't make sense. It goes against human nature. Human nature is to survive. Human nature is self-preservation. Our goal every morning when we wake up is to live out the remainder of that day. And if we are harming ourselves by eating too much, the amount of not just the mental pressure that's going on, but the physical aspect of overeating. I was 312 pounds. There are still things that I suffer from today that is because I was obese for so many years. I had difficulty with my knees. I'm a diabetic. I've been a diabetic for 37 years about. So a lot of the challenges that I have physically today is because I was obese my whole life. So why would I do that? I'm grateful that I'm not obese anymore. So I've reversed a lot of it. But why would I do something to harm myself? Logically, it doesn't make sense. That's why I say that the problem is not logical, and therefore the solution cannot be logical, but it is a process. And that's a great question. So that is the course of action in order to get your power back if you're eating for emotional reasons. And I'm going to answer this person who texted in a minute. That is how you get that power back. That is what our program specifically focuses on. We're not a diet program that just teaches you what to eat, but we focus on the reason that you're harming yourself. So we give you back that power. I find myself eating when I go into a unnecessary fight or flight response. How can I stop that response? So that's another great question. And it's a very similar thing. You can't fight the fight or flight response. I know that sounds like it's not about fighting the fight or flight response. The way that the subconscious works that puts you into fight or flight response, you have to find out why you go into fight or flight. There's a reason that you go into fight or flight. Very probable. You're not sure why you go in. You may blame a situation. You may blame somebody else. You may blame your conditioning. You may blame your situations of why you go into fight or flight response. And 9 times out of 10, if not more, it's not the reason that you think it is. And same as the first question, same idea, that we have to get clarity and have to uncover why you're going into fight or flight response. Great question. So if you're not happy with the behavior that you have with your reacting to certain situations in life, then that is the process in order to get to stopping the response. Preventing is more the appropriate word than stopping it. Would you like to find out more about that? Would you like the person who texted? Would you like somebody from our office to get in touch with you and talk to you about what we do for that? Waiting for an answer. But in the meantime, anybody else have a question or a comment? Two great questions. Fascinating, powerful question. Anybody else? Or the people that I responded if they need another understanding of that. But those are great questions. These are the things that we focus on in our process. This is what we are able to heal, because it is a healing process. Again, that somebody used our chat. Some people used our text, 845-400-9466, or of course you can press *6 and unmute and ask your question that way. I didn't cheat on the food plan. I really didn't. They gave me a food plan, which is portion control, which is the same food plan that we offer our members if they want. You don't have to follow our food plan. But that is the food plan that we offer. It took me about 8 or 9 months. I was losing pretty healthy, I guess. 8 or 9 months is about 12 pounds a month, approximately 10 to 12. That's about 2.5 pounds a week. You did exercise as well? No, absolutely not. That's also a very good question. I was advised by this weight loss program. They're not around anymore. I had to go in every week to weigh myself. So I had that accountability. And that's why we do weight loss. People send their weights in every week. They advised me not to do any exercise. First of all, somebody who's over 300 pounds, it can be very dangerous for the heart for an individual, even though I was fairly young. I was 40, 42, 43. So I wasn't 20 or 30, but I wasn't 50 or 60 either. So they told me not to do any exercise. definitely not rigorous exercise. The reason being why they advised that to me was because exercise will increase appetite, right? If you exercise a lot, you're going to get hungry. And it's very hard to follow, especially somebody like myself who was so obese, to follow a weight loss plan if I'm hungry. So I really had to really just cut back, not do any exercise. I didn't do anything. Doesn't mean that I sat on my couch all day. You can go for a 15-minute walk. I would park. What I did is when I would go to the store, I would not try to find the closest parking spot to the store. So I would park further away from the store, so at least I would get a little bit of movement. I would do movement, but not exercise. There was a difference between moving and exercise. I didn't do any rigorous exercise. I didn't want to increase my appetite. I was focusing completely on weight loss, following it. I cheated once in the 8 or 9 months. It said that I was allowed to have a certain amount of a carbohydrate, like pasta or something like that. And it gave the portion. And I think it was supposed to be cooked, but I did it as uncooked. So I knew that I was cheating, but I played ignorant just to get away. It's the only time from that whole 8 or 9 months that I literally did not cheat. I followed it to the T. I did not overeat. I didn't try to get things in that I wasn't supposed to. I really followed the food plan very specifically, very accurately. And then once I lost my weight, came the biggest challenge for me. I never lost 100 pounds at once. And the question for me was, okay, how am I going to keep it off? And they didn't really have a good maintenance program because they weren't really focusing on the emotional aspect of eating, which is primarily my problem, the emotions around it. They weren't focusing on that at all. They said, okay, you can start to bring back a little bit of food here and a little bit of food there, but it wasn't, I couldn't identify. Again, I couldn't relate to what they were saying. And I said, I got to find out how to keep this weight off. And that's where my research and my journey started to really, I would go to weddings and I would go to those that back then, I don't know if they still have that much, but they used to have a nice sized smorgasbord by the Kabbalah Panim and before the chuppah. And I would watch skinny people eating. And I would watch overweight people eating, and the overweight people reminded me of how I used to eat. And I would watch skinny people eat, and I would see them take like a plate, a small 6-inch plate, those cocktail plate, and they would go once, and they didn't finish what they put on their plate, and they didn't cover the whole plate either. And I was like shocked. I go, how do you do that? I would go to any time that there was a buffet, especially with free food. Wow. And I would fill up my plate just a trial. The first one was only a trial to see the foods that I liked. And the ones that I liked, I would go back again 3 times, maybe even four if I could. Was it embarrassing? Yeah, but I still was able to get past it. And I would finish my entire plate. Then I would eat a meal and I would get friendly with the waiters and they would bring me seconds. And then I would go to the Viennese table, to the dessert, and do the same thing all over again. And I watched skinny people. And I said, there's something that they know that I don't know. How can they do that? When they would go to a kiddush, for instance, I would overindulge and then come home and eat the regular Shabbos and Yom Tov meal. How do they not gain weight over Yom Tov? I needed to know that. I lost weight when I was losing weight. I lost 5 pounds the week of Sukkot. I did. The week of Sukkot, that those 8, 9 days, I was able to do that. But I wanted to learn from them how to do that consistently. Like I did it because I was in weight loss mode. My fear was I was going to gain them back. And I spent a lot of time interviewing skinny people. I really did. I found skinny people and I started talking because I didn't believe that skinny people like to eat. And I found out that they do. And it didn't make any sense to me. If you like to eat, why do you eat so little? And I wrote about this in my first book on diabetes that I wrote in 2007, that skinny people say, oh, I eat so much. And overweight people say, oh, I haven't eaten all day. If skinny people eat so much and overweight people don't eat a lot, then skinny people would be overweight and overweight people would be skinny. So clearly somebody's lying here. And I was definitely one of those people. For a skinny person, when they say they eat a lot, there are some people, I have met them, that those are the not the norm, who have a very fast metabolism. There are skinny people who do that and they just can't gain weight. They literally can't gain weight. And they eat a lot. They don't know where it goes. They just have a very quick metabolism. But that's not the norm. I'm talking about the 80% norm. I'm not talking about the 10% extreme on either side. And there are overweight people who literally cannot lose weight. They have a problem with their thyroid, or they can have some type of hormonal imbalance, or some type of illness that just prevents them from losing weight. There are those people who have that as well. And I thought I was one of those people. That I obviously disproved it when I went to my endocrinologist and he told me there's nothing wrong with your metabolism. And I go, wow, there goes that excuse out the window. So I had to learn. I found out that they do enjoy eating. They just don't want to overeat. They don't like the bloatiness. They don't like the feeling that comes with overeating. And I go, wow, how do you train yourself to get there? And I had to untrain myself and retrain myself to get to what I call, I had a fat mind and I had to create a skinny mind. And that's basically what our program does. We teach you that. We get to the subconscious levels of why you're overeating in the first place, why you're sabotaging your life. What is it that you're so unhappy about or don't love yourself that you're harming yourself, even though that may not be your intention? And when we heal that, we remove the cravings. And once we remove the cravings, we're going to be talking a lot about this during our sugar cravings event around Hanukkah time. You don't want to miss that. And that research, that I said, that's the mindset that I got to work through. I got to get to those people. I have to be able to think about food like those people do. And I tried to imitate them and I couldn't. I can't imitate a skinny person. I'm not. I have a 38-inch waist. I had a 54-inch waist. I wear some medium, some large clothes, but I don't wear anything extra large or double X or triple X, which I used to. So I have a nice average athletic body. I exercise. I'm very content. I don't have a huge stomach anymore. I don't bulge out. So I'm very content with my size that I am. I'm not a small person, 5'11", so I have broad shoulders. I'm a broad individual. I'm not petite, but I can't imitate skinny people. I don't really care what they eat anymore. I eat pretty healthy. I also indulge, not every Shabbos, but every couple of weeks I'll have cake every so often. I do. I have these things every once in a while. No terrible, but I'm not a slave anymore to food. I'm really not. And that's amazing. I don't think about it all day. Oh my gosh, what's my next meal going to be? How am I going to control this? I don't think about food 24/7. While I was eating, I would think about what my next meal or snack is going to look like. So I'm not a slave to my food, but I'm definitely not a skinny mind person. I can't do them, so I stopped trying. But I definitely learned a lot from them. And I was made fun of a lot, even while I was losing weight. And people at work, because I would bring my own food to work because I had to follow my food plan. They go, oh, look at Alan, always eating healthy. People made fun of me when I was obese, and people made fun of me while I was losing weight. And then people made fun of me when I was skinny, but they don't do that anymore. It's been a lot of years since I lost my weight. So a lot of the people that I know today at work didn't know me back then. But those people that did, I would get made fun of. Can you imagine getting criticized all that time? So I'm used to being criticized. I don't like it. I don't. I really didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it, but I learned to live with it. So I had to learn, though, how to get to that mindset, and I imitate them. A lot of things that we teach to plan. They plan their food. Skinny people plan. They don't even realize that they do it. They do it so naturally. So I learned, and I teach that in our program. We teach you how to plan, because that's what it really comes down to. You have to plan. That doesn't mean that you got to do food prep for a whole week. I did that. I used to take every Sunday, I would make this big bowl I would get like a big mixing bowl, those big mixing bowls. I don't mean commercial, I mean for the home bake. And I would put together a whole salad and then I would cook. I would bake chicken breasts. So I would bake a lot of that and then I would make a whole bowl of salad and then I would mix it all up. And I didn't add salad dressing to it at the time. And then I would put it in 5 different containers. So I would have one for every day at work. And then the chicken, when it came out of the oven, I had a scale and I would measure my amount. I would weigh it. So I did it once because I couldn't be bothered to do it every day. I would do it on Sunday and I would have the same lunch and dinner almost every day of the week. Boring, I agree, but that's what I needed to do. And then my breakfast, I would rotate. But that's what I would do. It just made it easier for me. That's what worked for me. I'm not a mother. My wife would prepare the meals for the family. I didn't do that. But I did prepare for myself and I took my time and it would take an hour and a half on a Sunday and I would prepare my food for the whole week. I had it all. So food planning doesn't have to be to that extreme, but that's how I did it. That was the only way that I could counter that compulsive grabbing of food just as I saw fit. I realized that I can't do that. So in order to prevent it, that's what I did. I don't have to do that to that level anymore at all. I do not prepare my food for a week in advance. Sometimes just a meal in advance. It's just become a normal. I'm telling you about, I'm describing it, and I can't really explain how the transition happened, but it was definitely hard at the beginning for me because I didn't have the guidance that I had now. And I've taken all that information and that experience and I created my program based on that. Because after 15 years of keeping my weight off, I said, wow, I can teach people how to keep their weight off. So that's what our program does. I take all that experience and knowledge and put it into a 6-week program. Fascinating. So hopefully that answers your question. Great question. Thank you. Anybody else have a question or a comment? We'll be here till 9:30 if we have to. It's another 5 minutes.